So today we're going to talk about making a poem look like a poem. Writers do this by using line breaks and white space. I crafted a poem just to use in this lesson. So I'm going to read it, and then I'd like for you to talk a little bit about what you think a line break is and white space is. Line breaks and white space. Poets chop, chop, chop their lines with line breaks and make meaning with white space. All right, so if you would turn and talk with somebody next to you, what do you think is a line break and what do you think is white space? All right, so what you probably said was a line break is where the line breaks, where we stop writing on one line and go to the next. This is called a line break. You can see I use several in my poem. Right away, the first 3 lines, 4 words and 3 lines, because I used line breaks. This is one way that poets make their poems sound like they want their readers to read their poems. So there's a slight pause at the end of each line break. So it sounds like this. Poets chop, chop, chop. The other thing that you talked about is white space. Now, white space is the empty space in a poem. There are lots of different places that I used white space in this poem. You may have noticed that there's an extra line here and extra white space here. I also used some white space between my letters of the words white space, and again, some white space between the lines. I did this because I really wanted the white space to take up a lot of space in my poem because that's really what white space does. This is also defined as white space where I moved my lines over a little bit. All right, so I'd like to show you Hank's poem, Gaga Ball. It says, get in the ring, Gaga Ball, Gaga Ball, Gaga Ball. Get out of the way of the ball. Move! All right, so Hank was really creative with his line breaks and white space in his poem, Gaga Ball. You can see the way that he arranged the words there at the beginning. The first line is actually arranged in a circle because he wanted to give it the feel of a Gaga Ball pit. Those 3 repeating lines in the center, he uses both line breaks and white space to set them apart. And then he has the line, get out of the. And he was telling me that he put each of those words on their own line like that with the white space between them in order to make it feel like people, the people that were in the Gaga Ball pit. And then that last line, second to last line is way of the ball. So it reads, get out of the way of the ball. And the words way of the ball, he put in a circle to make it feel like a ball. And then he changed his font. He made it bigger and put it on a line of its own, that last line, move, as the ending of his poem. You can try this too. Poets get creative with line breaks and white space. Today, during writing workshop, just like Hank, you can use some line breaks and white space to make your poem look like a poem. Go ahead and try to do some creative thinking like Hank did in his poem to really pack a punch with what your poem means. Happy writing, everyone!